chapter 22, verse 10. And our friend Aryeh, Parachaf Bet Pasuk Yud, our friend Aryeh is going to read for us. Parachaf Bet Pasuk Yud. Yeah. Okay, so Avram sent forth his hand, and he picked up a knife to slaughter his son. Can you imagine? Okay. By the way, there have been recorded cases in history of people who claimed, like recently in America, they claimed they got a message from God to kill their child, and they killed him. I mean, there have been these cases of insanity. So if Abraham would try doing this today, there's no question he would go to jail. There's no question. I mean, murder, it's more, I mean, attempted murder. I mean, they would throw him in jail. So luckily it doesn't seem like there was police back then. Okay, go on. Or family services. Go on. There's no Rashi there. Oh, we actually read this pasuk yesterday. So I'll just read it quickly and then we'll read the next one. And an angel of God called him from heaven. And he said, Abraham, and he said, Abraham. And he said, here I am. And so this is, Rashi said yesterday, the double expression is an expression of love. Right? Okay, so now read pasuk. Actually, we read, oh yeah, you read pasuk Yud. We didn't read this in order yesterday. Go on, Aryeh. Right. So it's a very good question. He says, don't send forth your hand to the Nar, but Rashi says that Yitzchak was 37. So why is he called the Nar? Also, why is Ishmael and Eliezer, the servant, called the Na'arav? So it's a question. So I think what I would suggest, it's an excellent question, Ari. I would suggest that since he's a passive person in the face of his father, they're referring to him as like a Nar, as a young lad, because he's totally passive, presumably. But yeah, you have a good question, is why the text is calling him a Nar here. Okay, go on. And don't do anything to him. Right, very good. He says, don't send forth your hand to the lad. Don't do anything. Ki ata yadati, because now I know. Now I know that Yirei Elokim ata. Now I know you're God-fearing. V'lo chasachta has been chaschicha mimani. You have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. Rashi says, let's see what Rashi says. Al tishlach, do not send forth l'shlot. Don't slaughter. So the word al tishlach means don't slaughter. Amar lo, Avram said to God, Im Cain, I don't like that. L'chinam bati l'kan. What do you mean? I came here for nothing? Esebo chabalah. Let me at least make a wound. I'm going to take out a little bit of blood. God says, Amar lo, al tas lo me'uma. Don't do anything to him. Al tas bo mum. Don't make a blemish in him. God does not allow Abraham has this desire to do something, but God doesn't let him. Yes, Aryeh.
Why say take out a little blood? Isn't the whole point of the blood?
Right. So that's an excellent point. So your question is a great question. Beautiful. That's a great question, Aryeh. So they addressed that question in the commentary here. Hello, Noam. I'm doing great. By the way, I don't want to say his name. One of your friends said he couldn't come because he has practice. Practice. Why do you need practice? Practice. We're talking about practice. You ever see that YouTube video of Allen Iverson? I sent that to him. Practice. We're talking about practice. Not the game. It's practice. Practice. I'll send it to you afterwards. Okay, so your question was asked here by the Be'er B'Sadeh that Avram thought that although Hashem didn't want him to slaughter Yitzchak, he nevertheless wanted Avram to bring Yitzchak's blood as an offering, because the essential part of the korban is the blood. So he wanted to draw some blood from Yitzchak and sprinkle it upon the altar. So that's what he was thinking. But your question is very good. Like, what's the point of just taking a little bit of blood? So the essential thing is like to draw a little blood. And you see people do that today. Like you see like rituals where people say to do this ritual, you have to draw, bring some blood path. No, that's what Aryeh was just pointing out, like to make the point of the blood of the covenant. So God says, no, nothing. Okay. And Kiataya Dati, now I know, says Rabbi Abba, Amaro Avram, and I mentioned this yesterday. Hello, Reb David. Hello there, my dear friend. Chapter 22, verse 12. I mentioned this yesterday. David, this is Aryeh and Noam. You know Jeff already, but so he says that Abraham said to God, I don't get this. I'm going to set out my talk before you. Yesterday you told me that Isaac will be my seed. And then you said, go and take your son and bring him up as an offering. And now you tell me, don't touch him. Doesn't make any sense. So God responds, when I told you to take him, I never said to slaughter him. I just said, bring him up. And you brought him up, now take him down. So God never said those words. I mean, it's a little bit tricky, but that's the Rashi's approach, that God never said to slaughter him. Right.
Also, Abraham said, well, to Yitzchak, but about the offering that's supposed to come when Yitzchak comes.
Let's say this again. Right. They never said those words that you're going to slaughter. Avram didn't say it, and he was a little tricky, but Rashi has him telling him that if there's no animal, I'll slaughter you. But God never said the words shech. He just said bring him up as an offering. I mean, if we went into a court of law, I don't think it would be acceptable, because the clear implication was that Abraham was supposed to slaughter him. And in fact, God, who's omniscient, knew that Abraham was going there with that intention. And he didn't stop him and say, whoa, young man, that's not what I meant to tell you. So, and also God is the one who presumably can express himself in the clearest possible manner.
Yeah. I didn't mean for them to take over the capital or to break in the capital. I just wanted them to go and make a peaceful demonstration.
I mean, I didn't really watch a speech, but it is the comparison is a person who unleashes something is responsible for their words, even if that was not 100. I mean, as a matter of law, is that the case? If that wasn't their intent, are they responsible? Right. So I'm saying, like, I'm forgetting about the politics. I'm just saying, like, in this case, are you responsible for the interpretation of your words if that wasn't your intent? And so, right.
My brother-in-law sent me a very funny video, meme, and it said, when I said nuke the Chinese, I meant put the leftovers in the microwave.
Okay, there you go. All right, let's go on. Baruch Hashem. So it says, Ki yata yadati, now I know. Me'ata, now Yeshli Mala Shiva Satan. God says, what do you mean now I know? Now I know how to respond to Satan. Because remember, one of the theories that Rashi says as to why this happened was because God said that Satan said Abraham wasn't worthy because he wasn't willing to make sacrifices to you. So he says, now I know what to respond to Satan and to the other nations of the world who wonder, how come I love you so much? So now I have an answer that they all see you're God-fearing. Okay, That's the version. Okay, so Noam, you read the next pasuk, Yud Gimel. But excellent. Aisle. You know what an aisle is? An aisle is a ram. A ram. Okay. Do you know where we? Okay. Do you know where we use a ram? Where do ram is sometimes an offering, but also which holiday is the ram's horn feature prominently? Rosh Hashanah, right? So this is one of the reasons why we blow the ram's horn specifically. Really, any horn is kosher, but a ram's horn is the ideal, and that's because it comes from this verse. Okay, go on. Vayelach. And bring him up as an ola. Okay, let's translate this. Vayar and Vayisa Abraham lifts up his eyes. Vinei ayo and Vayar, and he saw Vinei ayo achar, and behold, there was a ram achar, and that's a strange word here. Achar, after. We'll see what that means. Ne'achaz besvach, caught in the thickets bekarnav. There was a ram there caught in the thickets in its horns. And Avram went and he took the ram and he brought it as olah in place of his son. So let's see what Rashi says. V'hinei ayol, behold, there was a ram. Muchana yalakach. The ram was made ready for this. Mishei shetimei breshit. This ram was created. When was it created? When was it created? It was created according to the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot 5, Mishnah 6, that it was prepared I think it says it was prepared bein hashmashot, between dusk. It was on twilight on Friday afternoon. So that's what? Yeah, but so this ram was prepared for this moment. So that also makes it sound like this whole thing was preordained. What do you mean? If the ram was preordained for this moment, what a powerful concept. You know this whole idea of free will? You know what I think it's like? I can explain to you. How can you have free will and God knows what you're going to do? I'll explain it to you. You want to hear my explanation? And it'll be so perfect. Probably, Jeff, do you ever use Waze? Waze? Yeah. So you ever use Waze, Aryeh? And so Waze, I leave my house and I'm going 6 hours from here. Let's say I'm going to New Jersey, or so it's 250 miles or 240 miles. They know the minute I'm going to arrive. How do they know what I'm going to do? How do they know what's going to happen? I could be stopping to go to the bathroom. I could be stopping for lunch. They know. Can you imagine if somebody had the AI that was 1 billion times better? They know exactly what we're going to do better than we know. We have free choice, but they know. That's the way I can explain why we have free will, even though God knows what we're going to do. God is infinitely better than Waze, but the same way we could get an insight into it, that way the computer knows what choices we're going to make, even though we have free will. The computer knows what we're going to do. We say we have free will. I might not go that way. I might go that way. I might decide to go 50 miles an hour instead of 70. The computer knows exactly what we're going to do because it has our driving history. But imagine if it had infinite knowledge and it would know every single decision we're going to make. So that's free will. We have free will, but God knows what decisions we're going to make. Follow that, Noam?
Yeah, because I guess
we're completely predictable. If you had all of the data, we would be predictable. If we had all of the data, like all of our gene history, all of our history of what we do in these moments, there is always a possibility that we're going to change our mind, but the data would predict that. The data would know. So that's like, imagine if you had the most perfect AI possible, then it would know exactly what we're going to do. So it's not possible if we accept the Maimonidean. I mean, the story is told that way to transmit a message, but if you accept the Maimonidean definition of God, God is perfect. So God can't have made a mistake, so to speak, or be surprised. So how can it be that we have free will? So that's why I have this concept of just imagine AI is helping us understand all these things. It's helping us understand. I saw like another news story today, which is that. Do you see that Tom Brady? You know who that is? He cloned his dog. Did you read that?
Yeah.
So Matt, what?
Very expensive.
No, but imagine we could clone another. You can, if you could do it for a dog, you could do it for a human. Yeah. But he won't be identical. The cloning won't be identical. But okay, let's go on. So he said,
since we're on Thursday, do you want to maybe explain if the Mishnah starts with 10 things, why there's another 3 and then another 1? Or like does that mean that they're subtracting from the 10 or they're just adding more?
I don't know. I have to look at the Mishnah separately, but I'm going to leave that for you. I look forward to hearing your share on it tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Rabbi Yosef, if you could give that one, you're going to do great for us tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Everybody should zoom in. Okay, so the Rashi says, Achar, what does it mean, Achar, after? After the angel said to him, Al tishlach, don't send forth your hand. Ra'ahu, Avram saw the ram, kishu nechaz. He saw it, meaning after the angel said, don't send forth your hand, Avram saw the ram that it was caught in the thick. Afterwards, the ram was there the whole time. And it's why Uncle says, Uzikaf Avraham Yat Enuhi Basar Ilan. The ram was there the whole time. He was there from creation. Avram didn't see that solution. Can you imagine that? The ram was there from creation. That's the whole idea. That's what it says. In the thicket, what does it mean? It means it was in a tree, which is also interesting because you're not allowed to plant a tree on the Temple Mount. You know that? And it's a prohibition, but there was a tree there. Bekarnav, Shaya Ratz, Eitzel Avram. It was running to Abraham, and Satan grabbed it and confused it and threw it into the trees. The ram was running to Abraham. This is the Midrash. It's meaning to say it's very hard to imagine how a ram gets caught in a tree. I would sooner get caught in a tree than a ram. So Satan was involved. And he brought it up in place of his son. What does that mean, Rashi says? What does it mean? Since it says he brought it up as an Olah, why does it have to say in place of his son? Because listen to what Rashi says here. This is going to make us cry. Kol avoda sha'asa mimenu. Every time Abraham was involved in sacrificing this ram, he would say, may it be your will that as though I'm doing this to my son. It's as though my son was slaughtered, as though his blood was sprinkled, as though my son were skinned, as though he was burnt and became ashes. Because you see the passion that Abraham had to do God's will. I'm sorry, Ari, what were we saying?
Don't we do that?
Well, for our karbanos, we do it for ourselves. We say as though we were killed. Take this in place of me. That's what we do the kaparos. But here he's saying, do it in place of my son. That's because he probably he was on a different level. He valued his son more than himself. I mean, it's just like the emotion here. Why do I cry? Because you can feel the emotion jumping through the text. And you can feel the emotion jumping through the text.
One of the most famous stories of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev is that he said that you can't get kapara unless you bring a ruble for the kvittel, and this widow, a single mother, came crying to him, said that she's been working for a month to try to get a ruble, but she only managed to get one, so he should please take it for her son, and she'll whatever. Like, so like she truly believed it, and that's what he was waiting for. He was waiting for to basically say to Hashem, these people are willing for their children to live instead of them, and that's why Hashem, you have to give kapara. So
Beautiful story. Beautiful story. Okay, so very nice. So now, Aryeh, please read the chapter 22, verse 14. Why are you sitting so far away? Right here, Judah. There's a chumash right here. No, right here. Go on, Aryeh. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, sit down, Norai, b'vakasha. It's what page is it, Noah? 115. So Avram called the name of that place Hashem Yireh. We'll see what that means, because it is said this day that this of the mountain Hashem will be seen. The mountain of God Hashem will be seen. Actually, I want to share something with you that today's daf is talking about the mountain, this mountain. And the mountain was actually whose territory was the Temple Mountain? When God divided up the land of Canaan, who got the Temple Mount? The Levites didn't get a portion in the land. So who got the Temple Mount?
nobody technically.
No. Well, there is a position. Hold on. For some reason, I can't take my AirPods off. But the Talmud says in today's daf that the Temple Mount was divided between tribe of Judah and Benjamin. Judah got the courtyard, and Benjamin got the temple area itself. And so, why was it divided between the two of them? So this is my theory. This I didn't see in the commentaries, but my theory is because Judah and Benjamin, we know, had a civil war. They had many years running a civil war. What was the civil war? King David was from Judah and Saul was from Benjamin. There's also a civil war, the concubine of Gibeah. Did you ever learn that story? They skipped that. They skipped the gore and the graphic stuff. So therefore, to show how do we create the Beit HaMikdash when there's unity? So the two tribes of Judah and Benjamin had to share the Temple Mount. That's the concept. Anyway, so we're here on the Temple Mount, the Har Hashem. It's called the Mountain of God. So Rashi says, what does it mean Hashem will see? Pshuto is like the Unkla says, Hashem Yivchar V'Yirelo. Hashem Yivchar V'Yirelo et HaMakom Hazeh Ashro Po Shchinato V'Akriv Kan Karbanot. Hashem will select and see as fitting for himself this place, Ashrot Po Shchinato, to rest his divine presence and to have offerings brought there. So that's the simplest explanation, that God will select this place. Asher Ye'amer Hayom Sheyomru Rimei Hadorot Olav, that they will say of it in future generations, on this mountain Hashem appears to his people. That's the mountain that we're talking about in the Daf Yomi. That's the Temple Mount. Did you go up there with me, David? You weren't up there when we went up. You weren't on that trip. David and I went to Israel. We had a great time, but I guess I saved the fireworks for the next trip. We had fun, but we didn't do that. Yeah, but we did other stuff. Okay, so in the future, what does it mean, Asher Ye'amer Hayom, as it said this day? Rashi says, the days of the future, that everybody will be talking about this day. And the Midrash Agada, it means, the Midrash says, Hashem will see this binding to forgive Israel every year and to save them from punishment. As it says, on this day, in all future generations, and this is what we said yesterday, Bahar Hashem Yera'ah, God will see the ashes of Isaac still piled up as an atonement. So the ashes of Isaac are still piled up. And we discussed this yesterday. What does it mean the ashes of Isaac are piled up? Remember what we said yesterday, Noam?
Did we say that it was the lamb's ashes, but because they replaced Isaac as a sacrifice, it like represented him too?
That's what some said, but I also pointed out that there were some who suggested that he was actually killed and resurrected. So his ashes remained there, that Abraham actually killed him. That's a controversial theory, but that's one of the midrashim that Shalom Spiegel cites in the last trial. Hold on one second. Okay. What? The name Jerusalem? God, well, what does the name Yerushalayim mean? It means God will teach. Will teach. Yerushalayim. Hold on one second. Okay, let me just tell my kids.
There's somewhere in the Gemara that Yerushalayim is a combination of Yireh of Avram and Shalem of Melchizedek.
Yeah, where does it say that in the Gemara?
I will find it. That's
okay. All right, so then we'll just do one more verse and then we'll stop. Who we have to have Judah, you read this next pasuk and then we'll stop. Pasuk Tetvav. Vayikra. Malach Hashem. Vayikra alav Malach Hashem el Abraham Shinit min hashamayim. And an angel of God called out to Abraham a second time from the heavens. Okay. So why is he calling out a second time? He's about to speak. Here, we'll just do one more. Nora, you read it. He says, Bi nishbati, by myself I swear, Ne'um Hashem. Go on. Asita. Chasach. Right. He says, now I know, he said, and he swear, by myself I swear. So says God, because you did this matter. Why is an angel speaking to Abraham here, not God? How would you explain that? Why is the angel the one speaking here? Have you ever thought about that question? Why is it the angel speaking here? Okay, let's stop the recording. It's time to daven. I'm putting that out to everybody to think. Why is the angel? Oh, that's what you're saying. So then they stop. After this, they stop. After Genesis, they stop. Yeah. All right, we'll stop. Speaking of stop, we'll stop the recording here.